that this is Pride Month, and I know we've had many activities around our schools and events throughout the month, including flags up, flagpoles, and we appreciate the school community for their efforts on this subject of pride. And then secondly, this is National Indigenous History Month. And I know there's been many school activities again and celebrations, and I was lucky enough to participate at the Arrowview celebration Friday the 20th, and Chief Racalma and the chief from Port Alberni actually was in situ as well, and it was a very joyous occasion with lots of learning and singing and things like that. So it was a proud day. So I would like to acknowledge this evening that we are meeting on the lands of the Coast Salish people, the Snawas and Qualicum First Nations, and we thank them for their stewardship of the land and allowing us to live, play, and learn here on their lands. First off, on the adoption of the agenda, I will add an item under trustee item 17. We had in our last meeting last month a discussion on meeting schedules, and we'll resurrect that again for some comments by trustees on meeting schedule. So are there any other additions, trustees, to the agenda? I think we're missing Julie. I can't see her at this point. Oh, here she comes. Okay. Somebody's got to go on mute. Julie, are you with us? Okay, if she has an agenda item, I'm not aware of it, so we'll go for adoption of the agenda as presented with the extra item on meeting schedule discussion. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? So move trustee Kellogg, seconded trustee Kurland. All those in favor? Carried. Great. Now to the consent agenda, which you have the items listed. I would move that or ask that we move the consent agenda. Mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, trustee Kellogg and trustee Young. All those in favor? Carried. There are no delegations this evening, no written public questions and comments. So from business arising, and as you recall at our last meeting, we have on the table for third reading the 2025-2026 annual budget bylaw, and I would move that the Board of Education, School District 69 Qualicum, give third and final reading to adopt the School District 69 annual budget bylaw in the amount of $72,124,658 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, trustee Kellogg. Are there any questions, trustees? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Oh, sorry, trustee Austin. Let's back up a sec. I didn't see that till now. You have a question?
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm a little late on clicking my buttons. No, I just wanted to say, I mean, we said it all last month. It's been very difficult, very challenging. I'm glad we had this month just to, just to pause a little bit and recognize, there's so little wiggle room in this. There's so little that can be done. I mean, I will be voting in favor of this budget tonight. I have made some notes throughout this budget process that I'll be bringing next year for the 26-27 budget process, I hope. It's always a learning curve. And, unfortunately, there just, really didn't seem to be that much wiggle room or any options at this point in time anyway. But so thank you, everyone.
Yep. Thank you, trustee Austin. And I would like to extend thanks to the senior staff and leadership team that worked very, very hard to crunch numbers and find ways and means to do this, because yes, it has been a difficult process. And to be in funding protection again is a bit alarming as well. So I'll call a question, trustees. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Now, Mount R. Smith Teachers Association and Mr. Wood.
Thank you, Eve. Hi, Luana. Bonsoir, and good evening, everyone. I just want to take this moment to congratulate this year's graduate students that are set to walk across the stage Thursday, 2 days from now. MATA, on behalf of all its members, and myself would like to congratulate the class of 2025 and wish them much future success. Teachers greatly appreciate the grad walks that occur in June at elementary schools and look forward to this annual tradition. It takes many teachers to support each student's learning through their educational journey. Teachers of all grades take great pleasure and pride when they see our students reach this final stage of their public education. We hope that each graduate will bring with them the educational tools, the social skills, and the confidence they have gained while learning in Qualicum School District. And we hope that this variety of experiences that public education has provided has prepared each student with the confidence to tackle all that life will throw at them. Most importantly, we hope that students will continue to adhere to a life of learning. Congratulations. As the budget has just been passed, and as MATA has spoken on its position to this at previous school board meetings, I will not repeat myself. However, except to say that the funding formula for boards of public education is flawed and should and needs to be addressed. For years, teachers have stretched themselves to shield students from the impact of funding shortfalls. The strain has reached a tipping point. A funding model that reflects today's realities is what is needed. The realities of managing complex learning needs, of student mental health challenges, and adapting to evolving curriculum expectations and technology changes. Really, what is holding public education together right now is not policy or funding, but it is the resilience and compassion of educators who keep showing up despite the demands that continue to grow on them. We urge all our MATA members, CUPE members, trustees, administration, especially parents, to reach out to our MLA, Stephanie Higginson, and demand better funding models that supports today's educational realities. Each school year brings its own challenges, its concerns, frustrations, disappointments, successes, and rewards. As a teacher, I would often reflect on these types of experiences and through thoughtful analysis, develop a plan to increase these positive outcomes in coming years. In essence, I would think to myself, what changes in my approach can I make that enables me to grow as a professional and I can bring those to the classroom? As a president, I continue to do the same with the goal in mind of what can I do to ensure I'm at my best to support my members. This starts with effective communication, building trustful relationships, and applying common sense to solutions-based problem solving. We all have difficult roles to play and expectations to uphold. However, MATA is appreciative of the communication between QSD stakeholders and the respectful discussions necessary to bring forward solutions that will create the best outcomes for students. I'd like to borrow a quote from a fellow colleague who stated, "When we invest in teachers, we're investing in students, in families, and in the health of our communities. Because when educators thrive, students thrive. And when students thrive, we all benefit." On that note, MATA would like to wish all the trustees, senior admin, PVP, CUPE employees, and its members a wonderful summer full of adventure, relaxation, peace, kindness, social connections, and personal serenity. Merci. Thank you. Aisepwa.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. QB Local 3570, Mr. Ewan. Rycroft, sorry. Ewan Rycroft.
Thank you very much. I'm disappointed that we've just passed the budget. I had hoped that we would have been able to relook at this. For a consecutive year, our support staff has experienced significant cuts despite our repeated appeals for hiring freezes or genuine consultation to help identify efficiencies within our departments. Concerns have not been met with meaningful dialogue or collaborative problem solving. This year, every department has felt the weight of these reductions. Time and time again, we have voiced the same concerns only to feel unheard. There has been no consultation prior to this budget decision or opportunity to discuss how we might improve operations together. Nearly every possible cut has already been made to the support staff, and every individual who works directly with children has been affected. I recognize that teachers have also faced reductions, and that some retiring principals are not being replaced, as this is the case in previous years. We are all here because we care deeply about the children in our community, and yet it's becoming increasingly difficult to provide adequate support with diminishing resources and hours. There must be a better way forward, one that does not rely so heavily on cuts to teachers and to support staff. Perhaps we could postpone certain projects or redirect funding from our AFG towards frontline workers, as we've done in the past, until our finances stabilize. Alternatively, we may be should be considering reductions in administration, particularly roles that do not directly serve the children in our schools. I, again, wish that we can have more meaningful discussions moving forward, as this budget has already been passed. I too also would like to thank all the hardworking teachers and staff out there that have put forward another large grad class. This is one of the largest I've seen in a while. And I'm very happy to see all of these students graduating. And that is why we're here as a community. And I hope we can work together better on this next year.
Thank you, Mr. Rycroft.
Thank you.
Thank you. And District Parent Advisory Council. I see Jason's is in attendance. Will you be speaking to your report?
Oh, that'll be me.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, good evening.
Sorry, Erin. Sorry.
That's all right.
I didn't see you checked in. My apologies.
Yeah, so good evening, everyone, trustees and staff, and also fellow parents and caregivers who are here. My name's Erin. I'm speaking on behalf of the District Parent Advisory Council Interim Committee. We want to begin by expressing our appreciation for the opportunities that exist for parents and caregiver involvement in our education system, opportunities like being here tonight. No one cares more about our kids more than parents and caregivers. And that's why having meaningful avenues for us to participate and provide input and stay informed are so important. Over the past month, since the DPAC Interim Committee has been appointed, we've been working to ensure DPAC continues to be one of those avenues. We've met and had great discussions with the superintendent and with trustees. We've attended committee of the whole meetings and board meetings. We continually brainstorm about how we can be a communication channel between our school district's families and the administrators. So as the board prepares to take a break in July and looks ahead to your August meetings, we respectfully ask trustees to consider this question. Are there additional opportunities to strengthen parent and caregiver involvement, or ways to enhance the opportunities that already exist? We know that parents are balancing really busy lives with young children and teenagers, aging parents, work, and other responsibilities. And with that in mind, we would greatly appreciate if committee of the whole meetings could be recorded and made publicly available. We believe doing so would allow more parents to engage with district discussions on their own time and help broaden participation. As the district and board reflect on the past year and continue to look outward strategically, we'd like to emphasize the importance of learning supports for our diverse learners. We understand we are entering a really tight budget year, and we know that schools will do their best with the resources they have available. Still, this is an area many parents and caregivers would like to understand better: how learning supports are allocated, how decisions are made, and where we can join in provincial advocacy efforts to ensure students get the support they need to thrive. Another topic that continues to come up among parents is food insecurity. We want to thank the district and its staff for the work already underway to implement and expand programs that ensure students have access to nutritious and filling meals. If there can be opportunities for greater parent input or feedback in this area, we'd really welcome being part of that conversation. Finally, we want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all of the teachers, EAs, support staff, and school and district administrators. The heart and care and dedication you bring to our students and our families is noticed and deeply appreciated. There is so much good happening in our schools. And of course, we can't forget to mention our incredible volunteer community. We have countless parents, caregivers, grandparents, and community members who help in the schools all year. We want to give a big shout out to all of the volunteers who give their time generously to enhance our schools. On behalf of DPAC, we wish you all a safe, restful, and joyful summer. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Erin. And yes, we very much look forward to working with you on your key questions and areas. Trustee Kurland.
Yeah, I really want to thank you for the opportunity to meet with you last Friday. It really made me feel like there's hope for the future. And with DPAC, after a year of, I think, stagnation and turmoil, that I really felt that it was a really good meeting that we had, and I look forward to working with you next year. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Trustee Kurland. And thank you, Erin, speaking on behalf of the DPAC interim committee, and we look forward to September and full-fledged status of our DPAC. Now I'll call upon the action items, Dr. Superintendent Jory, for our recommendation, which is that the Board of Education, Schools District 9, approve the school impact plans for the 25-26 school year as previously presented. Could I have a seconder, please, trustees? Thank you, Trustee Kurland. Over to you, Dr. Jory, to give a outline and a high-level presentation on school impact plans.
Thanks, Chair Flynn. I appreciate that. As most people know, we've been revamping the way that we do our school planning processes, and we're using a system called Observable Impact, and it's helping us align our school plans, our classroom plans, with our operational plans, and most importantly, our district strategic plan. And so we've been supporting our principals through monthly conversations as they've been working with their staff virtually monthly, if not monthly, certainly checking in multiple times per year to develop their plans, fine-tune their plans, and make their objectives as specific as possible, and to make sure that we're drawing a clear line from those objectives to the work that needs to be done and the outcomes that we want to see. Our principals have been very enthusiastically editing their plans, and I'll say that they were finally, the last one came in at about 11:23 today, and so I hope the trustees had a chance to review those last few and that came in today. And I'll just say that I mean, as much as we're going to do better with the deadline next year, it really shows a high sense of ownership. They were tinkering, editing, consulting, even as the last few days came up. And so I'm really quite pleased with the results. They get better every year, and I honestly believe that this batch of school plans is the best that I've ever seen. And this is over about 15 years of school planning experience. So looking to Chair Flynn to move this vote forward, and if trustees, if you hadn't had a chance to look at each and every one, I would encourage you to go in your folder and please do that, not just in a cursory way, but and hopefully to find the time to look at them in a much deeper way, because the work there is quite strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jory. Trustee Austin?
Yeah, I want to thank each of the schools for putting those forward. And I imagine they're not on our website yet, but I imagine if this passes this evening, they will be going up on our website. So I would encourage everybody to have a look at them at whenever they get up there. Because they are very, very interesting. And I have to say, some of the introductions from some of the schools about their schools, some of them were rather poetic, and you could just tell the level of feeling that people felt for their school. So thank you very much for the work that went into those.
Thank you, Trustee Austin. Trustee Young.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo what Trustee Austin said to a certain extent, because I was reflecting on them and I haven't been able to read them all yet, because it's been busy in our house. But at one point we had this goes back in history, these school planning committees, right? And parents were a part of that, and they had to sign off on the school plans and so on and so forth. And I really would encourage, when they get up on the website, take a look at your particular school and what they're doing, because parents, you can help out as well in some ways. And we really I look to collaboration here. I want to see us all working together in a particular direction. That's what the strategic plan is about. So I would just encourage parents and teachers and everybody, take a look, teachers, educators, at other schools' plans, because I think there's some cross-pollination that could happen. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Young. School planning councils had a little different twist to them days gone by, but yes, they were probably the beginning places 15 years ago. Dr. Jory.
Yeah, I just want to be clear with people. We're going to push to have those plans, the new plans, the newly approved plans up within the week on school sites. I'm not thinking that there's a place on our school website where they would all go necessarily, but you can go to our main school page on our website and then go to each school and then look at their new plan on those schools. And yeah, it's not a bad thing to look at some plans that beyond the ones that your own that you work at or that your children attend. But I think most people are most interested in what's going on in their own schools and classrooms. So please take that opportunity to do that. And if you're interested in joining the conversation as a parent, by all means, do that through your PAC.
Trustee Austin.
I just quickly wanted to say I was on our school district website today, and in the search engine, I just put in school impact plans, and it does come up with a page, and there was links there to the 23-24 and 24-25, which was great. They were kind of mixed up a little bit, but that I don't know whether it was alphabetical or how it worked, but that's okay. You can access all the different schools from our district website.
Good to hear.
Thank you, Trustee Austin. Okay, I don't see any further hands up. We have a motion on the table to approve the school impact plans. I'll call a question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you all, folks, very much. Now back to you, Dr. Jory, for where the school impact plans lead us to, which is called the Framework for Enhancing Student Learning, and your report for this evening. Dr. Jory.
Thank you, Chair Flynn. Hello, bonjour, squale, CMCA. Yeah, I'll do my general updates first, and then move into the festival updates after that. Here we are again, standing at the threshold of another school year's end. Field days and farewells, learning updates and reflections, classrooms being packed up, and summer plans being hatched. As the pace of June picks up, it's a natural time to pause and take stock of what we've accomplished and where we're headed next. This year, perhaps more than most, has reminded us of the complexity and the promise of public education. Across our schools, teams have leaned into the work of the strategic plan with renewed focus, and I've been impressed again and again by the creativity and professionalism I see in classrooms, offices, and support spaces across the district. The tone and culture in our schools continue to reflect the values that we hold dear. This is evident in the way students are welcomed, the thoughtful attention to belonging and wellness, and the careful handling of complex challenges. Our leadership teams, teachers, and support staff continue to model compassion, consistency, and care, and I'm grateful every day for the caliber of the people we have in the school district. Of course, the broader educational landscape continues to shift. Artificial intelligence, for example, has gone from being a theoretical disruptor to an everyday reality. Director Terpstra and a team of educators are developing classroom guidance to help teachers navigate these emerging tools with confidence and integrity. As I've said before, AI is not a novelty to be feared or ignored. It's the fire in the cave. We must learn to cook with it and do so without singeing our fingers. We've also continued to make progress in key operational areas. Transportation planning has entered a new phase with improved routing software, increased transparency, and better communication with families. Online bus registration is at an all-time high for the state, which has been a boon to route generation. Sign up for the My Ride app or the website, for those who don't want another app on their phone, has been a bit pokey, but all of our school clerical will get training on it in August so they can support parents and caregivers with it when they are ready to engage. At Fall Space School, our replacement project is moving forward with the first draft of plans presented to the community and a feedback mechanism now in place. It's always a privilege to connect directly with island families and share good news. Our competition for the new teaching vice principal on the island takes place on June 30th, and we are very impressed with the candidates we will be meeting in person. On the topic of challenges, I'll say once again, we are operating in a time of financial constraint. Inflation, rising costs, and lower enrollment have moved us into funding protection, as mentioned already, and difficult choices have been required. Like many districts, we're working hard to maintain our commitments to staffing, learning environments, and essential supports, even as we examine every line of the budget with care. I want to acknowledge the anxiety and disruption that these decisions can cause. Reductions are never easy. And while I remain confident that displaced staff will land on their feet eventually, the transition can be painful. My thanks goes out to everyone who has approached this process with grace, professionalism, and compassion. And I offer gratitude to the managers and school leaders who have walked alongside staff through these moments with honesty and with care. Despite these headwinds, my confidence in our direction is strong. We are seeing high levels of system alignment, engagement in professional learning, and a shared commitment to improvement. New structures, like our instructional frameworks, assessment plans, are gaining traction, and the voices of educators, students, and families continue to inform our work. In regard to FESL, work on the 2025 Framework for Enhancing Student Learning report is now in its final stages. This year's report reflects a well-aligned system, deepened by a growing connection between school-level planning, classroom practice, and district strategic priorities. We have taken a more intentional approach to data literacy with a focus on assessment fidelity, triangulation of evidence, and teacher collaboration. Tools like EdPlan Insight are being used more effectively, and the impact of ongoing work with Carol Fullerton and other partners has been noticeable in numeracy classrooms. Equity has remained a central theme. We continue to see gaps in post-secondary transition rates, especially among Indigenous learners and students with designations. However, the clarity of the data, combined with our developing intervention strategies, positions us to address these gaps more deliberately. Personalized learning plans, stronger community partnerships, and targeted supports are all part of the response. The structure of the report follows 5 provincial outcome areas, as you well know: literacy, numeracy, grade-to-grade transitions, graduation, and life and career development. In each, we've included both performance results and narrative reflections grounded in evidence and connected to our strategic plan. Special attention has been paid to early learning, attendance, instructional leadership, that reflects our belief that sustained improvement requires coordinated efforts at all levels of the system. Once finalized and approved by the board, the full report will be submitted to the ministry and published for public access. It will serve not only as a compliance document, but as a true record of our progress, our learning, and our ongoing commitment to improvement. Our data shows encouraging progress. Grade 4 literacy and numeracy outcomes have improved significantly, standing out not just in local comparison, but also against the backdrop of provincial declines in these areas. Literacy at grade 7 has also improved, with noticeable gains among Indigenous learners and 5-year graduation rates remain high for all student groups, including Indigenous students and students with diverse learning needs. Again, a giant thank you goes out to all who have supported these endeavors over the last 4 years. All the results just mentioned sit at or above provincial averages, and in a community like ours with modest household incomes, this is a profound accomplishment. It's the real path to social and economic equity, in my opinion. To everyone who played a role in making this year a success, from those who have replaced broken locks, reset thermostats, organized field trips, balanced budgets, to those who taught lessons, supported students, led teams, and cultivated a culture of giving, growing, belonging, and learning, thank you. You are the reason this district continues to thrive even in the most complex of times. And as always, I hope everyone finds time to rest, to reconnect with loved ones, and to return in the fall with fresh ideas, open minds, and a renewed sense of purpose. Thank you. Merci. Aisepqua.
Thank you, Dr. Jory. All the threads tying together through the year to our strategic plan, and very heartening results to complement that. Are there any questions, trustees, of Dr. Jory and his report? Seeing none, I will move to then the educational programs update, and Associate Superintendent Wilson and Director of Instruction, Mr. Terpstra, will tag team and share with us the year-end joy that we all get to experience in June, plus a little bit of work ahead for September, I'm sure.
One of the privilege of going a little bit later in a meeting is that people talk about the highlights that you've got jotted down that you want to talk to. And so people have mentioned the grad walk, and people have mentioned some of the year-end celebrations and the work that we were doing in our schools with our Indigenous advocates. I was at Arrowview, and it was heartfelt. I think one of the things they shared with us when they were doing the practice in the morning and creating their circle, because they weren't sure how big that circle was going to be. And it was an eagle song that they had learned. There's a school, and an eagle flew over their circle as they were practicing the circle in the morning. And so that was really intriguing, and certainly the staff were appreciative of it. I just want to acknowledge some of the things that have already been said. It is not an easy time when we're making some reductions and some changes in how we do some of our work. And I know that our teachers, our support staff, and our principals have still upheld the highest integrity to make sure children come first and finish their school year, even though there's some uncertainty in terms of where they may be working going into next year. They've maintained an ethical, important there every day for the kids that we're here to serve, and making sure they're experiencing it. I hope nobody went down to the beach today. Because if you did, you would have met many class trips, not just from out of district, I hear, but we had many students down at Raft Trevor. We had students over at the Four Pillars, and at Rotary Park over in Qualicum. And I know that there's one more tomorrow, so you might want to avoid the beach as well tomorrow, because there's field trips during that year-end celebration. And that doesn't take a little bit of organizing. It takes a lot. I was at one school as they were all leaving this morning, and I think the principal thought the buses were late, and they were already taking kiddos, and they were already down at the beach and just picking up the next ones. Yes, we are transitioning out of this year and celebrating and looking forward to our graduates walking across the stage on Thursday, but we're also planning for next year, and so some really exciting things coming up. You've heard us talk about the literacy learning plan, which ties nicely into the work that Superintendent Jory just talked about in terms of how do we look at where we're at with literacy, and what kind of learning plan do we need to have in play for all of us to learn. It actually is a learning plan that includes our teachers, our education staff, our parents too, in terms of understanding literacy. Another area that we're focusing on is the to belong, and looking at what the brain science is around making sure that we are having our students feeling a sense of belonging. In the report that Dr. Jory just talked about, one of our areas of growth is for having students feel safe within their buildings. And so what do we need to do around that? The students are telling us, so how do we do something different? And so understanding the brain and understanding child development, as well as looking at how we can make sure that they're feeling and connecting with the adults in the building. I too want to wish everybody a safe and happy summer. You can feel the angst in the school building because I know for some of our families and some of our kiddos that are not in the regular routine, it's hard for them. And others are really excited to not have the routine and to be able to be at home and doing what fills their buckets. So big thanks to all of our staff and have a great and restful summer break. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Over to you, Mr. Terpstra.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Just really a summary of highlights that I've titled District Learning and Collaboration Highlights. We've had great collaboration between athletic directors and elementary teacher leaders, which led to the creation of our district-wide athletic handbook, which is really emphasizing the importance of extracurricular sports and fostering student belonging and community, and putting it all on a guide that brings a common experience for all of our students across the districts and across our schools. We participated in lots of assessment-informed learning this year. Provincial and district literacy and numeracy assessments helped identify strengths and growth areas and guided our targeted professional learning events, which included Shelley Moore dinner series attended by over 100 educators, which was actually led by our student learning support team. Superintendent Jory also mentioned our Carol Fullerton series. We had new number sense workshops for primary and secondary levels, including cross-curricular numeracy dinner session. And then we also brought in Poppy and of course, Trustee Austin will be asking what that stands for, even though she knows, but for the rest of us, Provincial Outreach Program for Early Years. And really it's about nurturing strong foundations for literacy learners. And we had a few sessions with them this year. Our AI working group also mentioned engage in meaningful dialogue and developing district guidelines for the use of AI in the school district, which we're going to be excited to put out in September. I'd like to also just mention our ongoing collaboration among teachers and PVP to enhance communication of students learning to families and further implementing the new reporting order. I'd like to mention our district learning environments. Students engage in learning across various settings, classrooms, outdoor, hockey rinks, work sites, trades programs, and post-secondary institutions, demonstrating growth in literacy and numeracy, again, that Superintendent Jory also referenced. And lastly, we, along with Indigenous Education, Principal Katie Marin, developed a series called Learning Alongside the Nations, focused on Circle. And the series really culminated in a historical district learning session at the Qualicum First Nations, deepening understanding of local Indigenous land, language, people, and culture. And thank everyone, our teachers, and also acknowledge that all of this learning was able to be deepened by teachers through NERTs in all school levels, and that was appreciated. So thank you, everyone.
Mr. Terpstra, wow, what a year. Oh, just so much covered. Any questions of Mr. Terpstra, trustees? Seeing none, we'll move on our agenda, and I'll call upon Trustee Kellogg for the Finance and Operations Committee report of Committee of the Whole report. And she has a motion on the 5-year capital plan, but opening remarks to you and take us into the motion. Trustee Kellogg.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the recent presenters from the Finance and Operations Department and highlight a few updates. Feeding Futures, a special thank you to Sheila Morrison for the incredible work she's doing to ensure our students are receiving nutritious meals. Her efforts mean no student is left with a hungry tummy. Thank you, Sheila, and the staff that do the groundwork. Track opening at Bolinas Secondary. Phil Monroe shared the exciting news that the new track at Bolinas will officially open in September. This will be a wonderful addition for both the student athletes and the community as a whole. New school for False Bay. This is very exciting. Planning is underway for a new school at False Bay, which is an exciting development for the community. Springwood Elementary Playground. A new playground is in the works for Springwood Elementary, supporting play and active learning for young students. And I want to personally thank the Springwood PAC group for all the fundraising that they've done through the year. And not last, but secondary school bathroom renovations, much needed bathroom upgrades are planned for both the secondary schools, improving the facilities for all students and staff. And just last, Arrington garbage can, a Bear Safe garbage can. Trustee Austin had did a request on behalf of the Raven class, and it is under advisement by Operation and Maintenance, and they will explore the costs. So that's something that we will find out about in the future. So moving ahead, the 2026-2027 5-year capital plan, major capital projects. The recommendation is that the Board of Education of the School District 69 Qualicum approve the proposed 5-year capital plan, major capital programs for the 2026-2027 as provided by the 5-year capital plan summary for 2026-2027 submitted to the Ministry of Education and Childcare.
Moved by Trustee Kellogg, seconded by Trustee Young. This is in your package in page 43. I'd like to call upon Mr. Amos if he has any additional comments.
Sure, I'll at least open it, and obviously there's some questions already from trustees, so I
Yep.
won't anticipate what the questions are, but just recognizing the summary that's included in the package is the 5-year plan, and I know it only goes out to 3 years. We don't have what defines most of our major capital programs within our district are the seismic condition reports that came about 4 years ago and 7 years ago prior to that. So they're kind of defining the lines that are the programs as we go forward. So Director of Operations has updated. So the False Bay one came through on the seismic replacement, and so we've got that. That is in the queue and happening as reported by Trustee Kellogg. And then the next one on the queue obviously are the Bolinas and the two secondaries and Qualicum secondary. So they've now been updated with value, but again, as we recognize, it does take a while for these ones to be we submit them, but there's no guarantee that we're going to get approval for them. So they will get reviewed by the ministry, and we hope that we can push them forward. But in the meantime, we ask the ministry to consider them going forward. The other ones that we talked about in the past are the childcare major capitals. And so again, we recognize that the Qualicum Beach Elementary one is on the books as we are preparing and planning and doing the work on that one. The second one that was in the queue was for Winchelsea. It was what am I trying to say? It was supported but wasn't approved on the last go around, and so we're going to keep that in the queue. We're just waiting for the ministry to define, should we resubmit it or does it just stay in the queue and get revised? So again, really what we're moving forward on are the two secondary seismic upgrades as noted. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Amos. I have Trustee Austin and then Trustee Young. Trustee
Thank
Austin.
you. My apologies to Phil. I don't know, maybe I had to step out during that part of our FinOps meeting, or maybe I lost connection. That sometimes happens. But the seismic upgrades for the two high schools, 18 million and 17 million. I guess that I don't know what on earth that that entails for those kind of figures, but is that the sort of thing that if the province says yes, you can go forward, but it would maybe be in increments like 3 million one year and maybe another 3 million the next year and so forth?
Yep. Good evening. That is correct. And just for clarity purposes, for the two high schools, it's not the whole school that needs seismic upgrading. It's certain blocks within those schools. And so there's certain sections, small areas, and you're correct. It would be phased in over a 2 or 3 year period.
Any follow-up, Trustee Austin? Okay,
No, thank
Trustee
you.
Young. Okay, Trustee Young?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of just say to people that the committee of the whole agenda package has a whole bunch of information on all of these different funding things that we get in addition to our our student amount. And so if you're not, it takes a while to get familiar with all of these things. So if you're really, you know, struggling with all of the different acronyms and things that we use, take a look at that package. I think it's really useful. And beyond that, we just keep moving ahead. I don't know if we want an update on the soccer goal at Arrington Elementary.
Was it discussed?
There's a motion on the table, that's all.
Okay. Yes, I should be speaking to the motion. You're absolutely right, Mr. Amos. Thank you.
Trustee Kurland?
Yeah, just a historical note. I think when Oceanside was built, the entire school cost $10 million. And I'm sure that the cost of the new wing at Qualicum Secondary was probably a lot less than 18 million. So just shows you how much earthquakes have gone up in price.
Thank you, Trustee Kurland. So we have a motion on the table, folks. Moved and seconded. Call a question. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Okay, on to Policy Committee of the Whole, and I am the facilitator of that group. So I have a few things to cover off this evening. My first would be the Board Policy 706, reporting of suspected child abuse and neglect. And the recommendation being that the Board of Education School District 69 approve Board Policy 706, reporting of suspected child abuse and neglect as currently written. Revisions to the administrative procedures are provided for information. This is in your package, page 48 to 52. And could I have a seconder, please, before I add some more comments? Trustee Kellogg, thank you. So if you'll, for those of us to cap off the end of the season, board policies are in review and is part of our work as trustees. So sometimes they will come forward and stand as they've been written. In the case of a revision to an administrative procedure, the superintendent is required to notify the board of that change. And so in fact, today, after our discussions at the Policy Committee of the Whole, under duty to report, you'll see some revisions based on our conversation that have been put forward this evening as information. And so are there any questions, trustees? This was reviewed by Ms. Wilson, who has had in-depth experience with this over the past number of years. And so the policy statement stands within a clarification on the administrative procedure. Seeing no questions, I'll call a question. All those in favor? Carried. Board Policy 707, student rights to engage in peaceful process, that the Board of Education School District 69 approve Board Policy 707, student right to engage in peaceful process as currently written. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Trustee Kellogg. Are there any comments, trustees? Trustee Young.
Yes, our discussion at the policy committee meeting actually kind of made me go away and think about this policy quite a bit more than perhaps I had, because I just sort of assumed that everybody agreed that this was a good policy, and there was some dissension at our policy committee of the whole. This policy is a little different as I'm thinking about it, because it's really written specifically for students in the same way that that one on menstrual products is written for students. The thing that really sticks out to me, based on my experience, is that we don't want students penalized for participating in peaceful protest. So that's really the most important piece of this policy statement to me. The other thing that I'm wondering is whether we would consider referring to this policy in our school codes of conduct, because that's where I would expect that students would read about these kinds of policies. So I am entirely in favor of the motion. I think it's important to retain this policy, and we'll go forward from there.
Really noted. I think that's a very interesting place to have it as a reference in the codes of conduct for students. Trustee Kurland.
Yes, I heard you use the word process. Did you mean process or protests?
Protests.
Okay, thank you. Just clarify that.
Seeing no further hands, trustees, all those in favor as written, thank you very much. Board policy 708, emergency preparedness and closures, that the Board of Education School District 69 approve board policy 708, emergency preparedness and closures as currently written, with the administrative procedures to be reviewed by management staff this fall. And this is based on our discussion at the Committee of the Whole, to have our Brent Prunkle, our health and safety guru and safety preparedness, and all of the things that he looks at, to see that we are in alignment with some of our local protocols with our local officials and things like that. So that will be an ask of him in the fall, but as it stands now, everything seemed amongst the committee to be in order for the policy. So could I ask for a seconder, please? Thank you, Trustee Kellogg. Are there any questions, trustees? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. And finally, this evening, board policy for third final reading is our board policy 703, student fees and subsidies, that the Board of Education School District 69 approve third and final reading to adopt the revisions to board policy 703, student fees and subsidies. Could I have a seconder, please? Second, Trustee Austin. Questions, trustees? I think we've been around this now 3 times. So all those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much, everyone. Now I'll ask the facilitator of the Education Committee of the Whole, Trustee Young, to speak to her report, pages 62 to 63.
Thank you. Yeah. As Associate Superintendent Wilson said, it's nice when you come later in the meeting and you can speak to highlights. The one thing, and it's not in the report because it's not part of the Ed Committee, nobody's mentioned the Indigenous grad yet, I don't think. And it was fabulous. We had 25 graduates this year. So I just wanted to shout out, and a shout out to all the educators in our district, right from the bus drivers who pick people up in the morning, to those of us who are trustees who sit on this board. It is a pleasure to serve with you. So that's my my little side note. In terms of the Ed Committee, we had some pretty neat presentations this time. If you really want to know about the pre-kindergarten survey, there is an incredible PowerPoint from Sheila on that, and I think we got it posted on the website. We heard from the Interact Club at Bolinas about what they do, and we heard from international students, and both of those groups talked about the importance of overseas trips in terms of expanding their knowledge base. The other thing that came forward was an evaluation of the Education Committee, and we're still going to work on that. So that's going to be an upcoming item in September, as well as a school presentation from Ecole Oceanside, we hope. And we'll be talking about the framework for enhancing student learning, FESL. So that's my update. Thanks very much, everybody, for all your hard work this year.
Thank you, Trustee Young. Okay, there are no reports from representatives of outside organizations, and our trustee item this evening is an initial look at our meetings schedule. Trustees will discuss who will be facilitators of each of the committees of the whole in August. But I believe, Mr. Amos, you're able to put up the meeting schedule, and what I think is prompting this discussion and some thought by folks is the timing of the meetings. Committee of the wholes, I would suggest, being that where our focus would be, and the notion of recorded or hybrid and things like that, which we have considered a number of times over the last year. So I'll leave it at that, and I have hands raised already from Trustee Kellogg first, and I'll go to Trustee Young and then Trustee Austin. Trustee Kellogg.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, if I am the facilitator of any of these meetings for next year, I've said earlier on in the year that I wanted to go back to recording. So if I'm a facilitator of any of these groups, I plan on recording. Having discussions with parents, the recording is more appropriate for them because they can look at it at their leisure. If I set a different time or in the evening during the day, I've been told that's not going to work because people won't attend. So being able to look at the recording, prepare for regular board meetings if they have questions of something that was done at the CAL meetings, then that's helpful for them. And I think it's important for transparency that we go back to recording meetings again.
Thank you, Trustee Kellogg. Trustee Young.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in hybrid meetings. I've said that before, and I think, you know, we have the capability to do that in the forum. And even though the forum is quite formal, I do think that anything that increases participation is a good thing. So some people come in person, they like to be in person. Some people like to be online. I'm concerned about Mondays for CAL meetings because often what happens is Mondays are holidays. And so I would like to look to maybe changing Mondays and having all our Mondays off. And I think we usually have Fridays off. So regularizing the schedule a little bit for me would be good. Any committee that I chair, I don't care about the time. And yes, I have now been convinced that we should record meetings and that they should be posted. I have some concerns about misquoting, but in a discussion that I had with a parent the other day, she convinced me. So there you go. So I am willing whatever committee that I might chair next year, I am willing to have it whenever it is most convenient for people. And, but I would like to move off of Mondays, because then if we have a Monday holiday, we have 3 meetings on Tuesday. I think that's hard for everybody. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Young. Now, Trustee Austin.
Thank you very much. I think probably what I have to say is moot now, because I think it's been said by both Carol and Elaine, but I would encourage anyone that will be chairing these committee meetings for the next school year to absolutely record them. I agree with Elaine, for those 2 or 3 times a year that we end up stacking our meetings, our Monday meetings moved to Tuesday. I think people are pretty burnt out especially by the 3rd meeting. So we might want to consider that. And we could even consider maybe just not even having 2 meetings a day, like 1 meeting, if it works out with other staff schedules and stuff, maybe just 1 meeting on a Tuesday, 1 meeting on a Wednesday, 1 meeting on a Thursday or something. I don't know if that would work, but I think it's food for thought for a lot of us. And I just really want to acknowledge and appreciate how much thought my fellow trustees have put into the recording of meetings, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Austin. Trustee Kurland.
I used to be totally opposed to recording the COW meetings, because I thought the people who, observed them, it was such a small thing but in our meeting with the DPAC committee, I guess you'd call it, some things were pointed out to me, and I realized that I think it's probably a really good idea to record the meetings, and it's not that big a deal as long as it doesn't take too much of our staff time to do it. I'm totally opposed to hybrid meetings because it doesn't work, and I think that we should stick to the format that we have right now, which is really, I think it can bring in the most amount of people. So I don't like the idea of hybrid meetings. I don't like the idea of driving to meetings at night for a committee meeting like that. And so I'm totally in agreement that we should record meetings now. I think it helps if somebody wants to come home after the kids have been put to bed and the stories read and dishes done, that they want to look back and see what some of the discussion was. I'm hoping that it's not used for perverted purposes to misquote or, mimes of whatever. But so I just, to reiterate, I would like to see that the meetings are recorded, committee, the whole meetings are recorded, and that they're during the day. I don't want to burden the staff having them at night, and I don't like the idea of hybrid ones. And the idea of, it's once a month that we have Mondays, our holidays. So there's one day, there's one Monday a month that everybody gets off. And so you can look at it and say, well, okay, it's going to be that many Mondays that we're going to have to stack meetings. We used to do the in-camera meetings and the board meetings were separate weeks. And then we started doing those together. And so now we have the potential of, once a month we have to stack them. We have to make the meeting so that there are 3 of them on one day, on a Tuesday. And it's really difficult. It is difficult. But at the same time, having a committee of the whole meeting that goes on for a whole week, say make it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, is a bit much. So maybe we could, instead of using Mondays on those weeks, we could shift it to Wednesday. I don't know what else everybody else is doing, but we could potentially adopt that schedule. So just to reiterate, I'm in favor of if we want to record the committee, the whole meetings, yeah, go for it. I don't think the schedule should change, except if we're going to change the having the 3 meetings in one day, maybe to stagger it that week. So we have a couple of meetings on one day and then the other meeting in the next day. Instead of Monday, make it Wednesday. So there.
Thank you, Trustee Kurland. I think that's a great summary of our discussion. Thank you everyone for weighing in. Yes, three Cal meetings in a row is a bit tough. Your brain starts to go. So I might call upon the guru talents and foresight of our executive staff to see if the rhythm changes that much when we have a Monday holiday to go to a Tuesday, Wednesday format. For committee of the whole meetings, I think I have consensus that recording meetings is likely the path to follow. And let's see how things can be jiggled out in the calendar. Mr. Amos, you have some thoughts?
No thoughts. I just wanted to put it in
Okay.
context. There are 2 months in which they would be stacked on Tuesday, and again, really just drawing your attention to that. It looks like it's, yeah. Anyway, there's only 2 months where there would be stacked. So again, back to you in terms of if you stack them on Tuesday or if you do Tuesday, Wednesday, that's up to you. But really, we're only impacting two months where
Out
the
of
Monday
10.
falls on a holiday. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good food for thought. Let's see if our wizard with the calendars, Ms. Hurt, can have a look at it and give us some ideas where we might run into pitfalls, but give it a chance. Trustee Young.
The other thing we could think about, we have all our committee of the whole meetings in the third week of the month. And, you know, there's some of them, like Education Committee doesn't have a timing issue. Like we could move that to a different day of the month too. I mean, I don't know, just thinking out loud.
Yeah, I mean,
now.
the committee of the whole, we're trying to align any motions or discussions or things to allow our senior staff to go away and have the prepare the documents and prepare the positions for the board meeting. So that's why the alignment is, but as you say, Education Committee of the whole may not provide that issue. And it could be the third week instead of the second week and whatever. So we'll take it away and have a full schedule prepared then for our August board meeting. Seeing no further hands, I'll move to public question period. Are there any questions? Mr. Wood.
Yeah, thank you. I kind of feel like Jeopardy here, but just wondering if the board has considered that the Tuesdays are also union days, and we've kind of held on to that practice. I just wanted to bring that point forward. So the question was, has the board considered that those Tuesdays are still, we try and organize all our union meetings on that day to simplify the schedule. So.
Yeah, no, I think we've tried to take that in as it goes on. Yep.
Yeah, I know some days there's 4 meetings or 5 meetings. It's a long day.
Yep. Trustee Curlin. Thanks.
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah, what day was it Thursdays or Wednesdays that was staff meeting days?
At schools, it's usually Wednesdays.
Is it Wednesday? I can't remember.
I think, Mr. Wood, you could correct me if I'm wrong. Is it usually not Wednesdays? Yeah, it's Wednesdays.
Yeah, they're Wednesdays, I believe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no further hands, and we have no more items on our agenda. I'd just like to thank everybody for a full year of action and input and professional growth and all of the exciting things that happen inside classrooms as well as outside. A lot to our structure. We are a big operation and many things come together to make this all happen. So to all of our staff and kids and families and the like, trustees as well, have a very enjoyable summer. As we say, get some time to rest and recover. And we'll see everyone in August around the 25th or something, but I don't have the exact date in my hand. So thanks everyone. And thank you for all of the work that you do for our children.